I don't know about you guys, but seeing Joakim Noah and Io to extend as well in the Rising Stars Challenge kind of just, it brought some good vibes that I just haven't had with the Chicago Bulls team in a while. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about the Bulls right now having the 32% chance of getting a top 4 pick, and we're going to go into your voicemails. We're going to do all that and more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bulls news and content.
All right, Bulls fans. So last night, Io DeSumo participated in his second Rising Stars Challenge. Joakim Noah coach, seeing the moment of him sitting on the side next to Ben Mathurin was just cool. Giving some guidance, some leadership there, some mentorship. And I wish that we got that here on the Chicago Bulls team from specifically visibly from Joakim Noah. We know he's still in the organization. He has a role here, but seeing it last night made me think maybe Joakim Noah can become a coach, right? I've always said before, I don't know if Joakim Noah, how passionate and stuff he is, if he would ever get in coaching. And I still doubt that, but it just really just kind of brought all that home. And, seeing Io, just take care of business in there and be able to play and just seemed like he was kind of having more fun. The Bull season has been stressful. I think you can see that amongst all the players and the fan base. And it was kind of cool seeing. And it kind of just reminded me of the fact that, one of the best things that DeMar DeRozan has brought here is leadership. And whenever DeMar does leave, whether it is this offseason via trade, if it is his contract expiring, him going elsewhere, or just him retiring, if he does end up retiring as a Bull, whatever happens, one of the biggest contributions that DeMar DeRozan has brought to the Chicago Bulls organization is mentorship. There was even a recent article in which Dalen Terry referred to him and Pat as DeMar as Debo's son. The direct quote. They definitely have that son thing going on. Me and Pat are Debo's son. Obviously, I'm the youngest one. He calls me the little baby. I can't believe he said that on camera. And then he said he just tries to mess with me. He calls me his baby. He calls me his son. When I'm around him and his actual kids, he refers to me as go get your brother. So, DeMar has brought that mentorship. And we know already what he did in taking Patrick Williams under his wing this summer, bringing him there this summer and having him do his workouts. And while it hasn't necessarily paid off in the way that I think as Bulls fans, we all would have hoped, we thought that, Pat Williams was going to hit the ground running. He's done that to DeMar, and he's done that to Io as well. We even seen DeMar out there supporting Io at the Rising Stars Challenge and him, giving Io a high five there. And I do, regardless of what DeMar does or doesn't do on the court, whatever problems or faults he has as a player, he has taken on the role of mentor to these younger players. And while we know we need leadership on the court and we need that fiery up, rah-rah leader, DeMar, Zach, they don't really have the mindset of that. But he has been a mentor to these younger players. And I do think that, that's going to be, and I've said this before, that's going to be DeMar's legacy. The lessons and things that he teaches these young players are going to be something that hopefully they do for years after DeMar is gone, especially Dalen Terry. When you look at just Dalen, his work ethic, him having that dog and him, the edge that he has to him, and really Dalen right now really offers kind of the best bright spot for the Chicago Bulls when you look at whatever this team goes to, even the people who, want to go full rebuild and things like that. That really the best place that we are really is Dalen Terry just offers so much upside, and he's really come along. His defense has been looking really good. He's played, we're about 3/4 of the way through season. He's played 5 minutes per game in 23 appearances. I didn't even realize Dalen Terry appeared in 23 games. That seemed a bit high for Dalen Terry. I just didn't even think. I know he hasn't played very many minutes in that, but his potential, the energy, the athleticism, just everything around him. He's just Dalen, that potential in Dalen Terry we see. Now, always say not all potential is realized. So, we'll see what that potential turns into. But if anybody's going to maximize on their potential, it's players like Dalen Terry who just have that dog mentality and that work ethic that just can make them go into new areas of their game. And we'll just see how Dalen continues to evolve. I've already said, and it's many other Bulls content creators have said as well, that, it is time for Dalen to crack that rotation, especially while there's injuries. But I even think that after the injuries, that Dalen still should be in that rotation because he just offers so much of what the Bulls need in so many different areas. So, we'll see. The shooting is not one of them, right? He's like 2 of 12 from the three-point range over his rookie career, but that form looks a little bit better. We'll see how he continues to evolve on that. But to get out of that, the Bulls right now have the 32% chance at a top 4 pick. And you have a lot of Bulls fans that have the thought, okay, this is where we go full rebuild, even though at this point, the Bulls are locked into the roster, not trading anybody away, so we're not going full rebuild now. wherever happens with this Bulls team, they're going to ride it out, and whatever chances they have at that pick is going to be what it is. Now, if the Bulls do finish the season as bad as they've been playing on the 6-game losing streak, could they potentially end up in the top 4? There's a chance, right? And I think when you look at AK, him playing the averages and kind of letting the season play out, maybe that plays a part in it as well to say, hey, if we're going to try to win, but if we don't win and we get lucky and get a top 4 pick, that helps us in what we need to do in adding talent to this team as they hopefully look to reconstruct this roster. Right now, and I know there's always going to be conversation on the Bulls should go full rebuild. They should blow it up. But it really hinges. Like, I will say this, there's a possibility of the Bulls blowing it up at the draft increase if they do get a top 4 pick. It really depends on where that is. Like, if they get the number 1, number 2, like I said before, I think that maybe that would more so, they would still do some changes, but I think at that point, if let's say they do get Wimbiana or it's Scoot or whoever it is, I think that they still try to keep a lot of talent on this roster so they're at a certain level, and then maybe ask Scoot or Wimbiana or whoever develops, then they may take a look at trying to move off some of that other talent. It's just, the Bulls are going to be such an interesting thing to watch in this offseason. But as that lottery pick chance increases, of course, the voices that want to see the Bulls go full rebuild are going to get a little bit louder. And so we'll see where that ends up with the Chicago Bulls team after the All-Star break, because they just aren't in a good place right now. But that's it for me for now. Let's go ahead and get into the voicemails. This first one is from Malcolm.
Yo, hey, this is Malcolm. So, man, look, I'm just going to leave it like this. I know that Zach has been efficient over the past few years, but I think this year is a little bit different than the other years that came before. Zach was able to always find rhythm on those older Bull teams because he always had the ball. He didn't have to worry about sharing it with 2 other All-Stars. So it allowed him to just kind of play himself in and out of bad stints. So he was able to find himself getting into those positions where he could be more efficient. Now that he's on a team where he has to share possessions with Vucevic and DeMar, it takes away from his ability to just play himself out of a funk or shoot himself out of a funk because he's not getting those constant repetitions of shots like he would if those guys wasn't around. It's not necessarily making an excuse. It's just acknowledging an observation of the differences between then and now. And then also he's coming off an injury, which slowed down his early part of the season as far as efficiency. And then also the fact that he doesn't have a point guard. And I know you know that he doesn't have a point guard, but the impact of having a point guard for Zach puts him in more catch and shoot opportunities, which we all know is what he's best at. And it keeps him out of situations where he has to handle the ball, which is something that is not his strong suit. So I think AK and Mark Eversley have done a poor job of building a team that makes sense in this modern NBA by the lack of shooting and the fact that we have a very small front court, and then by the fact that we did not try to address the fact that we did not have Lonzo for this season. We did not try to bring in another point guard to make it make sense. So I think with all that being said, this has led to a season in which Zach has not been playing up to the caliber in which most Bulls fans know that he can play, and I think that's the real reason why a lot of people are upset. It's not necessarily because they think he's a bad player. It's actually because they know how great he is and what he could bring to the table. And because it's not being shown, there's so much like anger and hostility that's leading to a level of anxiety that's a little crazy right now. So you can share your thoughts on that if you wish, but that's just my opinion on the guy for this season.
Shout out to Malcolm. First time is at least me being aware of him was a couple of live streams ago. And this is a great point. Yeah, here's what I want to say about the lack of efficiency. Zach LaVine, he pointed out the not ability to shoot himself through. Zach LaVine is only averaging 2 less shots than what he had in his most efficient season. And usually to be more efficient, it means taking less shots. So I personally don't throw Zach LaVine any bell for him not having the ball in his hands as much, because that's what we want to do. We want to take the ball out of his hands. I do think Zach LaVine has had more than enough opportunity to work himself out of the rut. Now, he's having a down season per him efficiency-wise, right? That's the biggest thing. His efficiency just is not there. And if he was a little bit more efficient, he's, 20th in the league, 24 points per game. He's 20th in the league in scoring. We've seen Zach LaVine be 10th in the league in scoring at other times. But over the month of February, he's averaging 25 points per game. He's doing so on 49% shooting from the field and 31% shooting from three, averaging 6.3 three-pointers per game. And his free throw percentage is 88%, right? 83% for the month of February so far. We need to see that increase, right? We're only halfway through February, but let's go to January. Let's get Zach LaVine's numbers for January. He averaged 26 points per game. He did that on 37 minutes. He shot 46% from the field overall, 36% from three-point range, and 84% from the free throw range, averaging as well as 6 rebounds per game and 4 assists per game. Yes, and I agree with what Malcolm said, is that people know how good Zach LaVine can be. And especially after signing a max level deal, people look for that at least, if not more than that, and that comes naturally. Now, I do think that if we all know Zach LaVine is not the player, a franchise player that you're going to win a championship. He's not the type of star level player. He's not generational. You're not going to be in title contention just by Zach LaVine. So Zach LaVine needs to learn how to find his rhythm. If that's the case, he still has to learn to find his rhythm playing with other All-Stars, because if he wants to win a title, it's going to have to come by playing with other All-Stars. So, like I said, I don't throw him enough as much bell as Malcolm does in this case. I understand the thought process and mentality behind it, especially not having a point guard. But as I said before, Zach LaVine hasn't had point guards before, so I really don't give him too much bell on the not having a point guard issue as far as his efficiency, right? We can talk about the team wins, and I think sometimes we need to separate that. My problem with Zach isn't just the fact that the Bulls are losing, because the Bulls are losing because more than Zach LaVine. My problem and issues with Zach rest in him just not being an efficient player and how he's playing in fourth quarters especially. And, as Malcolm pointed out and as we pointed out here as well, this team was built to try to take the ball out of Zach LaVine's hands in crunch time and allow him to do more things off the ball, which he is a better and more efficient player when he's able to do it. Great voicemail from Malcolm. You guys can let me know what you think on that one down below. Let's get into this next one. This one's from Shay.
What's up, hey? This is Shay. I'm going to just get straight to the point because I wasn't thinking about this. You ever thought maybe we should run the offense through Patrick Williams? Look, I know what people say, run the offense through Vooch, and people got a point, but it seems like Billy Donovan only likes to run a fast-paced offense, and I feel like this. Zach LaVine is turnover prone. Ayo is not a pure point guard, still needs to work on his ball handling. And the way I see it, Patrick Williams has shown he could be a good passer, and nobody really sees him coming unless he's standing outside on the perimeter nowadays. And honestly, nobody on the defensive end really pays attention to him. So I feel like Billy Donovan should try to insert P. Will as a ball handler, because let's face it, he's definitely shown that he could run the offense pretty well. Anyway, tell me what you think. Peace.
All right, and Shay brings up running the offense through Patrick Williams. And so this is something that I've said before. Like, yes, Patrick Williams is out on the perimeter. He just kind of left to sit out there. Part of that is on Pat, but part of that also is on the coaching scheme. If you look at it, anybody who plays the power forward position, usually except Javonte Green, really doesn't crash the boards. They really don't cut and slash enough is what we would see, and they usually end up out on that perimeter. So, some of that plays into Pat, but I would like to see Pat run the offense more. I think that keeps him engaged, especially while we don't have Lonzo, while we don't have DeMar. I think we should be running more things through Patrick Williams. He's shown he's a really decent passer, point guard in high school before he hit his growth spurt. We've seen his dribble has increased. He doesn't get a lot of opportunities to show because he doesn't have the ball in his hands a lot. And when we have seen plays ran for Patrick Williams, it has kept him engaged in the game more on both sides of the ball. Again, that goes back to coaching. I don't like the coaching philosophy behind developing Patrick Williams that Billy Donovan has and has not displayed. I just don't. That's my personal opinion. I think that if we had a coach that was a better at developing, we would see Patrick Williams get those plays. He wouldn't have as much of an opportunity to be passive P because they would be putting him in situations, same thing that Pop did with Kawhi, like putting him in situations to where you have to make a decision. It's not always design plays for you to shoot, but it's design plays for you to have to make a decision and be engaged, and you're growing your knowledge of the game and your IQ and doing certain things like that. And so, solid voicemail there from Shay. Let me know what you guys think on that one down below. Let's get into this next one from everybody's favorite drunk uncle, Ricky Carroll.
What up, hey? It's Ricky Carroll. I know I thought I was going to skip for a while, but I kind of appreciated your show tonight, the broadcast. You was 100% fair, bro. 100. But back to the point where I'm trying to come to. I told you it was Billy, bro. All these things Now, let's see, be fair again, and I told you a while back has happened. I told you, and I'm going to tell you this now. Before the end of the year is over with, and you already kind of got that way, you're going to have your thoughts about Zach LaVine. Now, I'm going to say this right quick. I don't want this to hold on so I can say I told you. At the end of the year, Zach LaVine is going to get hurt. He's going to have some type of injury, especially if the Bulls don't make the playoffs. And if he stay in there, he's going to get booed. And if he get booed, Zach's going to ask for a trade in the summertime. And you know something? They're going to trade him because, like you said, we done got stuck to Billy's ass, okay? Patrick Williams, man, coaching, bro. If they had a coach who would walk up to him and don't snatch him out, hold on, but get in the stage and talk to him and tell him to bust his ass, and had another coach to tell Bruce, just raise your hands. You know, just play some defense, man. What I mean by that, just jump, help out. You ain't got to block no shot, but just help out. But, hey, it is what it is. It's Billy, bro. It's Billy, okay? It's always been Billy. And if Billy's there, they ain't going nowhere. And I'm not going for that because he got an extension, they won't fire him. It's Billy, bro. Because you can find out, you can know what Billy's doing. Billy's film won't change. Remember? Kevin, James, Westbrook, remember that three? Paul Williams, Jordan, remember that team? And that team lost because Billy wouldn't change after they figure out what he was doing. He ain't going to change, bro. Peace.
All right. Zach LaVine possibly requesting a trade in the offseason. Personally, I don't see it happening. That's just my personal opinion. Regardless of being booed or not, I think Zach has a level of awareness over where this team is, his place in that, the team's place in that. And I think Billy Donovan, more so, if he has an issue with anybody, it's with Billy Donovan Zach LaVine has. So, we'll see. Ricky Carroll saying that Billy Donovan is the problem. Billy Donovan is absolutely one of the problems. He's not the problem on this team, but he absolutely is a problem. And those problems with his coaching philosophy becomes more and more evident the longer that this team is together. He doesn't use players that play good in the areas that they do best. He goes away from the hot hand way too often. We have seen no development plan for our younger players for the most part since Billy Donovan's been here. It's a lot of issues with Billy Donovan. And, Ricky said that you don't necessarily believe or buy into that this Bulls team isn't going to fire Billy Donovan because of the extension. And all I can say to that, Ricky Carroll, is you got to know what franchise you're rooting for. This is the Chicago Bulls owned by Jerry Reinsdorf. And once Billy Donovan said that he talks to Jerry every day, that to me signified that it's going to be a long time before we're able to get Billy Donovan up out of there. But you guys, again, can let me know what you think on that one down below. Let's get into this last one. This one's from Jamal.
Hey, what's up, Hayes? This is Jamal this is Jamal calling again with another voicemail. I was just following up because obviously the Bulls are on like a 6-game losing streak, which freaking sucks, and I just don't know what the hell is going on with this team. But you know what it is at this point. Obviously the buyout market is available, is coming up and everything like that. And there's some key names, obviously Russell Westbrook, Patrick Beverly, John Wall have been names that have been floating around the Chicago Bulls. But I also want to get your opinion. What about a guy like Kevin Love? What would you think if the Bulls brought him to the team? I mean, granted, I understand that Kevin Love of Minnesota, or even Kevin Love of the Cavaliers doing the championship run and things like that, but still a serviceable player. It seems like for whatever odd reason, whenever he plays the Bulls, he goes off on us. So who knows? But just your thoughts. It'll bring us a real power forward in the game. I don't want to say real power forward, but they give us a legitimate power forward in the game. And things like that, or maybe coming off the bench, he could still be a spot-up shooter, shooting at, I think, 36% from the field and things like that. Somebody could bang on the boards and stuff like that for us, and things like that. Just your thoughts. Again, I'm not saying that we will get him or pick him up, and I wouldn't be shocked if he did decide to go to a championship contending team, and things like that. But what would be your thoughts? Would you go ahead and make a chance of taking Kevin Love, or not? And out of the 3 point guards that I mentioned, John Wall, Patrick Beverly, and Russ, most people are saying they want to go with Russ, which I kind of understand. But if Russ isn't available or things like that, which one would you go with as a backup option if you had to pick somebody up between John Wall and Patrick Beverley? Just which one of those two would you take if Russ isn't available? Or hell, if all three of them are available, maybe you don't think Russ is the answer. Which of those three would you go with? So let me know what you think. As always, see red and go Bulls. Peace.
6-game losing streak by the Bulls. All hope is seem lost right now. The Chicago Bulls seem as a team, a franchise, a bunch of players that are just dejected, in bad places mentally, maybe even over the season to a degree. But the Bulls are in a bad place, and you can tell it by the body language. You can tell it by the lack of cohesion. You remember when the Bulls used to look like they were having fun playing together? That's all but gone and left the Chicago Bulls team. And so, it just is what it is there. It sucks. It's unfortunate, but yeah, the 6-game losing streak and how we've lost these games as well has just been terrible for a lot of Bulls fans' mental, a lot of the already discontent that we had around the team already. To have this after you were one game below 500 and seeming like you were ready to start making your move, it has definitely hurt. Now, you asked, should the Bulls take a chance on Kevin Love? No, it seems like he's already kind of determined where he's going. I think he's going to try to go to a contender or ring chase. To me, Kevin Love does offer some things. He rebounds. He can stretch the floor a little bit better, but defensively, him next to Vooch, oh man, that would be ugly. Now, Kevin Love next to Drummond, I could see if he's coming off the bench. But then again, that really changes your lineup a lot. I wouldn't hate it. Let me say this: if they waived Tony Bradley and brought in Kevin Love, I wouldn't hate it because you're replacing him with a better player. But I wouldn't necessarily expect much from Kevin Love. As far as your second question, which of the point guards, buyout candidate point guards, would I go after? If it would be Russ, just because I think he has been the one that has produced more. And if you're trying to add someone to a playoff atmosphere and run, I think you go with who has produced more and what his averages is, 17, 6, and 6 coming off the bench for the Lakers. I would love that. But I wouldn't if Russ is off the market. If we're looking at Beverley and John Wall, man, that's tough because I like the idea of the leadership Patrick Beverley could bring. I don't necessarily know exactly how much on the court. Again, John Wall too. Is John Wall going to stay healthy? Oh man, that's a difficult decision. I would probably say Pat Bev only because from the city, I think that he would hold players accountable. But again, there's also an inherent issue with looking for your identity in the buyout market. So there's a problem there, and that's what the Bulls aren't just looking for a player to add some seasoning on top. They are looking for a player to come and almost build their identity in the buyout market, which is just a terrible place as a franchise to be in. But I think I'd pick Pat Bev over John Wall, but I wouldn't be mad at either per se. But if all three are available, I'm going with Russ because he's the one that I think can produce the most. So that's just my thought. You guys, again, can let me know what you think on that one down below. And that's it for today's mailbag episode. While we're over the All-Star break, over the next week, you guys, I'm going to be playing more voicemails during the week. So if you guys want to get any topic off and it's not the weekend, please don't hesitate to send those in. But otherwise, that's it for me for today. Make sure you're following the show at Bulls Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, bullscentralpod@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We are the #1 spot for everything Chicago Bulls related because of you guys. And like I like to end every episode on, go Bulls. Love you guys. See red if you can. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.